This episode is powered by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, hello and welcome to an all-new Rated R Safety Show. Today is Monday, October the 28th. Day 301. Only 64 days left before it is all over with. Anyways, how are you guys doing this morning? I don't know why I should say this morning. I guess I'm technically cheating because I'm recording this in the morning, even though it will not probably drop until noon. Anyways, I am back into the studio this week. Not that I'm guaranteeing you that they'll be available all 5 days this week, but I wanted to come back and talk to you as soon as possible. This whole thing where we're only doing this once a week, well, I know it's kind of been the last couple of weeks, has not been my favorite. So what's going on in your safety world? Over here, things are not too bad. But you'll hear more of that as we go along. So I will tell you, as we're sorting this out this morning, no ranters available for today. And that's perfectly fine. But I have been giving it some thought, and you're going to be surprised on what's going to come up next. Anyways, let's not waste too much of your time. And let's get started with the news.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
So I'm sure you heard over the weekend, ISIS's spiritual leader, Abu al-Baghdadi, I don't know, that sounds kind of strange to me, is dead after American troops cornered him in his hideout in Syria. Al-Baghdadi reportedly denoted a suicide vest, killing himself and 3 children. No American casualties were reported. But I'm sure you've already heard of that because that was a pretty popular news story over the weekend.
Duh.
This one I found pretty interesting, so I wanted to cover it with you right away as I saw it. A Southwest Airlines flight attendant alleges that she busted a pilot with an iPad of live stream of the onboard lavatory. Yeah, I want you to hear that correctly. He was live streaming the onboard lavatory. The incident happened last year, but her lawsuit was only recently filed. She says she entered the cockpit when the pilot had to go to the restroom. Federal law requires 2 members of the flight crew in the cockpit at all times. That's when she saw the pilot on the iPad and assumed he was secretly spying on everyone who went into the bathroom or laboratory, however you want to look at it. Southwest vigorously denies the claim. But the attendant says that she faced stalking and intimidation by the airline as she tried to keep her from going public. So, not that I'm seeing a lot of strange activity goes along inside of those lavatories, but man, could you imagine that? Some pilot streaming what's going on in the bathroom. That is some interesting needs there. The Kincaid fire has expanded to more than 20,000 acres in California. It started on Wednesday, and winds and gusts have only made it worse day by day. A state of emergency is in effect. At least 50 buildings have been destroyed. Nearly 1 million people are without power. Well. I don't know. That's one of those things that I take a look at and go, when you start taking a look of living in California and you hear about the earthquakes and the wildfires that occur all the time, is the risk worth the reward? It's a beautiful area, don't get me wrong. But I look at it and I go, what can we do? Is it worth your while? And what can you do now to help the people that are there? Authorities in Texas are searching for a gunman who killed 2 and injured 14 at a campus party satellite school at Texas A&M University. Investigators haven't announced the suspect yet, but do believe that he was after one person in particular at the gathering of 750 students. The event was both a Halloween and a homecoming party. Well. Hopefully they're able to find this particular person, and I know that that does not seem like something that we would normally cover, but I think that it's something that we need to discuss and try to figure out the safeguards that are put in place when they're having these events. And I know that a lot of people are not fans of metal detectors, but it's getting to the point more and more that we need to do some consideration here. A Michigan woman has reported that a Samsung satellite crashed into her backyard. She shared video of the wreck on Facebook, but it's odds of how well intact the device is if it did fall from space. Samsung has agreed to have it removed. So imagine that. You have a satellite that actually hits the backyard and it's fully still intact? I don't know. Not saying that I have any doubts of what this lady's saying, but I look at it and I go, that's pretty interesting on how that actually works out. That could be a blessing in disguise. You never know. So let's give you some Florida and news stories right here. The secretive X-37B space plane is back on Earth. It landed at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It spent 780 days in orbit around the Earth. Its existence isn't classified, but there has been no announcement about the purpose of its long mission. Air Force officials report it's completed all of its objectives, whatever those may have been. Don't you think it's interesting that you have some spacecraft that's out there and you have no clue what is going on with it? I know that I cannot be the only one that thinks about that kind of stuff. What do you think? Leave some comments there if you want to. Going into the U.S., the federal deficit has hit a 7-year high. While corporate tax receipts are up 12% and individual payments up 3%, spending continues to outpace income. Insiders tell Wall Street Journal President Trump wants to make eliminating wasteful spending a centerpiece of his second term. Do you fall into the category of wasteful spending? I don't know. I look around and when I go around and go to places and see things, it seems like a lot of people are spending money. But I didn't know if that was based off of a booming economy. But what do I know? I'm just a broadcaster. The parent company of Louis Vuitton is offering to buy Tiffany & Co. Jewelry Company for $120 a share. It's currently trading just shy of $100, and it's worth about $12 billion with a B dollars. Tiffany hasn't responded to the offer, but it is expected to make an announcement soon. So if it's going to make an announcement, I would assume that it's actually going to do it. So would it still be Tiffany's or would it be Louis Vuitton jewelry? I don't know. I'm not into that fancy stuff. What about you? And I know that that's not safety related. But sometimes some of your safety money does go in there. So it looks like Verizon's having a good time. Cell phone users are flocking to Verizon. The carrier picked up 444,000 subscribers in the third quarter of the year. That's much more than the 295,000 it gained in the same period of 2018. Verizon certainly revamped its unlimited data plan, contributing to extensive gains. And I'll tell you, I think that Verizon has some excellent service if you're able to get it. But it's entirely up to you on what you want to do. Anyways, let's go to the weekend box office. And here we go, taking it from the top 5. Number 5, Countdown with $9 million. Number 4, Zombieland Double Tap, $11.6 million. That's down from number 3 from last week. The Addams Family, $11.7 million. That's up from the number 4 spot from last week. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, $18.5 million. That's down from number 1 from last week. And number 1 and rounding off the box office, Joker with $18.9 million. I have to tell you, last week I was actually in North Carolina. Went to the movie theater and realized that the Joker was not playing at the theater that I was at. I thought that was pretty amazing. Because if it's the number one movie or number two movie, or even in the top 5, you would assume that they would have it playing. But it wasn't at this particular movie company. Anyways, I was going to the lottery over the weekend. No winner for Saturday night's Powerball drawing. Wednesday drawing will be for a $140 million jackpot or a $96.4 million cash payout. No winner for Friday's Mega Million drawing either. Tuesday's drawing will be for a $105 million jackpot or $71.4 million cash payout. Well, that does not sound bad at all. But that's, of course, only if you play. Let's go over the days of the year that you can celebrate today. International Animation Day. National Chocolate Day. Plush Animal Lovers Day. St. Jude's Feast Day. Statue of Liberty Dedication Day. Separation of Church and State Day. Wild Foods Day. The hell's Wild Foods Day? But chocolate was pretty wild as it is. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Duh.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
This episode has been powered by Safety FM.